So I had a long, intimate conversation with Swag Kage, and he told me that Toneri is the deepest character in the story, and he asked me what is exactly a ninja, because we were talking about the worst ninja in the series. So, for starters, guys, a ninja is someone loyal to their village, someone that's used as a military tool to do missions and assignments. During times of war, ninja from across all the different villages get together and they defend their respective village. And of course, during the 4th Great Shinobi World War, all the villages got together and united to fight this big giant threat. What defines a shinobi, regardless of era, is how well they play the shinobi role, how loyal they are to their village, how resourceful, how useful are they as a tool, as a battle tool in many cases. And that's why they all come from different ninja clans. Because while they have different backgrounds, they raise their young for the purpose of the community, to become a tool in the future that could benefit society, despite their blood differences. So today we're going to be talking about the worst ninja in the Naruto story. This one's going to be pretty interesting, guys. Now, before we get started, I wanted to quickly note that I'm doing a giveaway with Gemmer. I'm giving away 5 copies of Naruto Shippuden Box Set 33. This is where Madara goes Sage's 6 paths. Make sure you sign up in the link down below, post one item, and you are officially in the giveaway. There's only like 200 people that have signed up so far, so your chances of winning are pretty big as of this moment. But without further ado, let's jump into this list. Coming in at number 10, we've got Deidara, and anyone from the Akatsuki is already a straight-up traitor. I mean, there are exceptions, of course, with Itachi, for instance. You know, he was protecting the village from the outside, his little bro, and that's why he massacred his clan, because he saw the Uchiha clan as very power-hungry, and they were a threat to the Hidden Leaf village, and just the peace and the order, and of course, if there was a giant war between the Uchiha clan and the Hidden Leaf village, you know, a civil war, there would have been so many casualties, potentially his little brother. So, his actions were kind of mixed. We can't really put Itachi on this list, and not everybody from the Akatsuki is just pure evil. This dude stole forbidden jutsu from his village, and I'm guessing that's okay, right? I mean, Naruto did that, but he betrayed his village in the end. So even though he stole this information that would allow him to combine his chakra with substances and manipulate creations into a weapon, which is a very useful ability, of course, if he's that resourceful and he betrays the village, that makes him the failure of a military tool for his village. He's an unloyal character and a bad shinobi. He damaged relationships in the ninja world because he wanted to work on his art. He even somewhat killed the Kazekage Gara in the Hidden Sand village, attacking him obviously to collect the Jinchuriki power. And, you know, while he didn't specifically target his village Iwagakure at first, in the end, by the time the war started, he had the intention to kill his leader. So, you know, as a whole, this dude, bad shinobi, bad ninja, very unloyal character. Though I don't really want to put him higher up on this list because he did have some morals, and I guess that sounds so bad giving Deidara any kind of major props for, like, being a good person. But he did allow Gaara, for instance, to move the sand away from all the villagers, basically saving a bunch of lives in the process. So, you know, I can't put Deidara higher up on this list, but he definitely earns himself a spot. Coming in at number 9, we've got Zabuza. While he had a unique gift and ability to wield swords, which put him at a Jonin level and earned him a spot in the 7 Swordsmen, which is basically the defense system of the Hidden Mist village, in the end, he tried to assassinate the Mizukage, and he became a mercenary. It's one thing to try and kill a Kage of another village. It's a totally other thing to do it to your very own. Zabuza is a terrible shinobi. His loyalty, he has none. His loyalty is to himself and to the money that he makes, the funds that he receives from Gato. Oh, and he also departed with the Executioner's Blade, which was another big blow to the Hidden Mist village, and that's because, you know, the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist, that's like their main defense system after the Mizukage, and these weapons are what makes the 7 Ninja Swordsmen so powerful. Zabuza was pretty resourceful. He had some really great skills, but in the end, it's honestly a product of the messed up environment in the Hidden Mist village and what they did to the kids and how they had him kill each other that really messed him up and gave him, like, no morality to follow the Hidden Mist village's rules. You know, that's the big thing, is that morality completely deteriorated there, so you can't blame him, but as a military tool, he was a terrible example and thus a bad shinobi. Coming in at number 8, we've got Indra Otsutsuki. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, why is this guy on this list? Why is he a bad bad shinobi when there weren't even any ninja villages when he was alive, right? He was alive before ninja villages had blossomed. You had villages, but they weren't really ninja villages. Well, pretty much he himself was a ninja, think Jesus, right? And he started the entire system using ninjutsu for conflict and inventing hand seals. And it's just his actions and the principle that makes him a bad shinobi, a bad ninja, despite the fact that there weren't ninja villages to use him and deploy him as a tool for fees, basically the traditional shinobi system that exists in the world we see today, and existed more before the Fourth Great Shinobi World War basically took place and united all the villages together against one big giant threat. Here's what I mean by that. He killed his two best friends, he betrayed his father's teachings, and all of his descendants basically tried to destroy the village. Think about it like that. What do I mean by all of his descendants tried to destroy the village? Well, let me put it to you guys like this. Indra's descendants were pretty much the Uchiha clan, and he had other descendants as well. But Indra was always known as an emotional, unstable person, so that's what his descendants were as well. And a lot of them always ended up having problems in the community, just keeping the order together. And that's why, and keep in mind, it's not only the Uchiha clan's fault, it's also Tobirama's, but that's why they were pushed to the edge and they were willing to go about creating a civil war that could possibly end the entire village because they wanted more power and they wanted to take control. So Indra's ideology was a mess, and that reflected onto his descendants. And while he created the ninja lifestyle using ninjutsu for the very first time, for conflict purposes, it's the actions and the principles, and he himself was not really fit to basically back any kind of village/clan, do missions, because, he was just person, and just that's all there is to it. Coming in at number 7, we've got Kisame. Now, he lands himself on this list in a very similar fashion to Zabuza. A prodigy from a young age, they come from the same village. He would go as far as to slaughter every single person on an assignment with him to keep intel from being leaked out. So when it comes to, friends over, what's the saying? Oh, yeah, homies over hoes. If you consider the village a hoe, he did not live by that statement. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I've got to stress this point again. The Hidden Mist village was a mess. Part of the reason why Zabuza turned out the way he did is because he had to kill his entire class to move up higher in this, shinobi system in his village. Well, basically, while it's a bit different with Kisame, and by the way, I think he also killed many students, he ended up killing the leader of the Seven Swordsmen because he found out that this leader was selling vital information, of the villages to other villages. And basically, after he killed him, he realized, a lot of these people that I trust and put, my soul into believing, all of this, people that are at the top of the system, they are on some BS. So in the end, he realized that this world was filled with lies, and he ended up joining the Akatsuki, a traitorous organization that was a threat to the shinobi world as a whole, and also to the shinobi lifestyle. He was expelled from the village for trying to overthrow the government, very similar to Zabuza, and also Shisama, who's also a part of his clan. So it seems to be like a tendency that the Hoshigaki clan family should not rule the land of water in the Hidden Mist village. And he also killed a daimyo, and these guys are vital in keeping the shinobi system alive because obviously that's how the villages get their money to distribute to missions, etc., etc. So definitely not a good representation of a military tool for his village. Coming in at number 6, we've got Sasori of the Akatsuki, or Sasori of the Red Sand, and I mean, his name speaks for himself. He was very resourceful. He was very helpful to the village. I mean, he earned himself that name, Sasori of the Red Sand, because the red is the blood of his enemies. That's a lot of blood, where it's a lot of blood if it's noticeable, and you gotta call Sasori of the Red Sand. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And, he just had a very proficient understanding of puppet mastery, the fact that he could utilize this weapon like no other, and he eliminated a traditional puppet master's weaknesses. But putting aside his portfolio right here, at the end of the day, yes, he joined a traitorous organization, he was mentally effed in the head, and he ended up killing the third Kazekage, and this isn't even that's already very high, killing your own leader, but this dude, this Kazekage, was the best leader that the Sand Village has ever had. And the fact that he tried to kill the one who taught him puppeteering or puppet mastery using the third Kazekage in the Hidden Sand Village, and he also had a lot of agents who infiltrated the village. He was a terrible representation of a military tool. He didn't back his village whatsoever, extremely unloyal, and that's why he earns himself a spot on this list. Don't underestimate Sasori as a bad ninja, because he was bad. Coming in at number 5, we've got Danzo. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. You might be thinking Danzo is perfect. You know, he does assassinations without any orders, right? He protects the village, and he's just doing what he believes is right, even if it undermines the official order of the village, because keep in mind, there is the Anbu Black Ops, and then there's Root. Root is basically under Danzo's control, or was under his control, and he could do whatever he wanted. If he felt like there was somebody that was a big giant threat, even in the official order, he would try to get rid of them, and he would try to do so secretly. I don't care what anybody says, this dude was extremely corrupt, and he was a terrible example of a shinobi. He was a threat to multiple different Kages in his own village. He constantly tried to replace the third, and Tsunade, by the way, who would not want to bend to his whim. He had dealings with Orochimaru, somebody who personally himself destroyed the Hidden Lee village, and this was, by the way, separate of Kaguya's plan or Black Zetsu's plan. So think about how sinister and individualistic that is. You know, it's one thing to be deluded into doing something, and another thing to do dealings with someone who destroyed your very own village. Not really that great of a shinobi, right? When he stole Shisui's eyeball, everybody remembers how pissed Double Four was. I was not cool with that at all. Because even though the Uchiha clan was power hungry and they wanted to create conflict, Danzo only exacerbated the problem. He was not a part of the solution. He was only there to basically, what is it called? Stir up the pot, you know. Basically pour gas into the fire. Yeah, that's Danzo. Coming in at number 4, we've got Obito, and do I even need to get into why he sucks as a shinobi? You know, so much flip-flopping, so much pussy so much misconstruing of ideology, and yes, the circumstances did screw him over. If we cut his life down to where he died in the Third War, protecting his comrades, giving Kakashi one of the Sharingan, he would be an extraordinary ninja. Although he wasn't that powerful at the time, so let's not put him up too high on a pedestal, right? In the end, though, he was just a tool that was used against the world to end the world, to put everybody in a sleep. And if that isn't a bad shinobi, I don't know what is. Do you think the shinobi lifestyle or missions with fees could even be possible if everybody was pretty much dreaming? The guy was just completely deluded and in the head. Madara brainwashed him, and he led a traitorous organization under a false identity. And the thing that makes him a bad shinobi is that while he did all these terrible things, allowing a lot of terrible things to take place, of course, leading the Akatsuki, one of those things is the destruction of the Hidden Lee village physically, as Nagato/Pain just, you know, obliterates it with one gravitational technique. Well, let me put it to you like this. He killed the 4th Hokage, he attacked many different villages, and he started a huge war. And the thing that makes this war different than everything else is the purpose, like I said again. It's to put everybody in a dream. These aren't even his goals and his ideology. It was just something that was given to him. And that's what makes Obito a tool and a terrible ninja. Coming in at number 3, we've got Pain. Or Nagato, shall I say. Now, under most, circumstances, I would say, maybe Obito is a bit worse than him, right? Because, of course, he's the one who led the Akatsuki. He's the one who had everybody doing these different assignments to collect the Jinchuriki, to attain power, etc., etc. But what makes this dude, and you guys know what event I'm talking about, what makes this dude so evil in my eyes when we put context into consideration before he was talk no jutsu'd, is how he straight up wrecked the Hidden Lee village. Like, you don't know how many nameless casualties there were in that specific invasion of the village. And the difference between him and Obito, what makes him a worse shinobi, a bad shinobi, somebody who, by the way, he believed in a completely different system, because he believed the shinobi lifestyle is kind of like, people who critique capitalism. They say that it shits on the small man. Well, Pain believed in a similar thing with the shinobi world, in how, the bigger villages were taking advantage of the smaller villages because the system was messed up from top to bottom. What makes him a bad shinobi, putting context into considerations, that he actually believed in what he was doing. These were his ideals. The strong take advantage of the weak, and that's why Amegakure is That was his ideology, and he hated the bigger villages, and he was willing to go the extra mile to destroy them, and in the end, he got talk no jutsu'd. That's what makes him a bad shinobi and lands him at the number 3 spot, despite the fact that Obito played a much larger role in just the overall world's chaos. Coming in at number 2, we've got the man himself, Madara Uchiha, the god. This dude was the original hater, and while there were circumstances that resulted in him becoming a bad shinobi and somebody extremely toxic for the ninja world, in the end, a lot of it was his own intentions, and I can't say he was fully deluded. He was on his hateful from the start, alright? Madara Uchiha was a scumbag, and of course he did intend for the world to be peaceful, and he did found the Hidden Leaf Village alongside Hashirama, but in the end, he was a loose cannon, and it would have been anything. It would have been Tobirama, it would have been Hashirama wanting to do things his own way that would have made Madara go crazy and just believe that the Uchiha clan and everybody else could not get along, and thus, there would have probably been a war a lot earlier. That's the type of person Madara Uchiha is. He was the one who basically psychologically abused Obito. He was the one pulling the strings, and he really believed in the Eye of the Moon plan. He became extremely pessimistic about human beings as a whole, and he believed that they were basically incapable of changing from their violent ways because of a system built on winning and losing. Kind of similar ideology to Nagato, in the sense that Nagato believed in winners and losers, and the strong take advantage of the weak. But what makes him different than Nagato is the fact that, again, he's just a loose cannon, he's just crazy, and he's so set on his own ways that he's willing to kill his own people to achieve his goals. And it's this that makes him such a terrible shinobi, because he had extreme powers and he was extremely gifted, and he had many battles with Hashirama, who he founded the Leaf Village with, but he was a big threat to the Hidden Leaf Village, and he eventually started a big war that costed the lives of tens of thousands of human beings, of shinobi, of ninja, a threat to the ninja world as a whole. It could never be the same if Madara had won and put everybody in infinite Tsukuyomi. At number 1, the worst shinobi of all time in the Naruto world that was on screen, that we've seen before, alright? You know, I don't know about ninjas we've never seen before. It is Orochimaru. Orochimaru is the number 1 worst shinobi, bad ninja on this list, and the reason that I put him ahead of Madara, ahead of Obito, ahead of people who've caused such great destruction is, let's not act like Orochimaru hasn't caused great destruction, but his philosophy and ideas were uniquely their own. He was messed up from the start. He was an orphan that basically just had an inspiration in experimentation. He had a sadistic attitude from a very young age, and I guess this was because his parents died, but at the same time, we never really got a full explanation on why Orochimaru turned out the way that he did. All I know is that he was raised up by the Hidden Leaf Village, and he, time and time again, undermined the Hidden Leaf Village's security, destroying the village at one point, killing Akaze Kage, and just causing about destruction, whether it be his experiments, him trying to take Uchiha's body, him working with very corrupt people. What separates Orochimaru from everybody else, despite the fact that he did not commit the same level of destruction as some other characters on this list, is that his ideology, his philosophy, the reason that he turned away from the ninja villages, the ninja lifestyle, the traditional one at the very least, because of course you're still a ninja once you leave the village and you become rogue, is that his ideology is strictly and uniquely his own. There's nobody that really influenced him. That's what makes Orochimaru special, and that's why I have a feeling personally why he's still around today in Boruto. And we just got the latest episode of the anime where we see him trying to build up Mitsuki and have him gain his independence, triggering Sage Mode in him. This dude's going to be around for much longer, and that's what makes him the worst shinobi of all time. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this top 10 list, the top 10 worst shinobi of all time. You know, you might be thinking this has to do with how bad a character is written. It doesn't. It has to do with the strict definition of a shinobi slash ninja and how well these characters, different characters in the series, played their role, their impact, their understanding of jutsu, how much power did they have, and how much loyalty did they have to their village, and the overall, just the overall respect of the culture and the shinobi lifestyle. Well, I would put Orochimaru at number 1, and I hope you guys put him at number 1 on your list as well. Although it's debatable, because there's no definitive list as to who's the worst. It's very subjective. It depends on which actions you personally weigh worse, depending on your own morality. But the definition of ninja / shinobi cannot be debated, so this list is somewhat accurate. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope y'all can convince Swag Kage that Toneri is not the deepest character in the Naruto series and the best written character in just anime and manga in general. I think that's a very, very extreme statement to make and should really honestly put a lot of his accolades in question, in the sense that, can we call Swag Kage a Naruto professor if he's claiming Toneri touched his heart in ways like no other man did? Peace.